What if the hardest moments in your life aren't random? What if the silence, the struggle, the unanswered prayers are actually a test? Not punishment, not abandonment, but a test. It might actually be a test. And if that's true, what exactly is God looking for? Welcome back to Sacred Questions, a space where we explore the deepest and sometimes most uncomfortable questions about faith, God, and what it really means to believe. Today's question is simple, but deeply unsettling. What if God is testing us? It's an idea many people have heard before. Some find it comforting, others find it troubling. Because if God is testing us, it raises difficult questions. Why would a loving God test people at all? What kind of test is this? And what happens if we fail? Let's explore this honestly, not just with easy answers, but with real depth. The idea that God tests people runs throughout the Bible. One of the most famous examples is the story of Abraham being asked to sacrifice his son Isaac. It's a story that has disturbed and challenged believers for centuries. Was it a test of obedience, of trust, of faith beyond understanding? And then there's Job, a man described as righteous who suddenly loses everything: his wealth, his health, his family. His story feels less like a simple test and more like a profound mystery. So biblically, the idea is clear. Testing exists, but what does it mean? In many theological interpretations, a test from God isn't about God needing information. It's not like God is unsure of what we'll do. Instead, the test reveals something, not to God, but to us. It exposes what's already inside us. Think about that for a moment. A test doesn't create your character, it reveals it. Philosophically, this connects to a deeper idea. Growth often requires resistance. We don't become patient without situations that test our patience. We don't become courageous without fear. We don't develop faith without doubt. So one perspective is that what we call tests are actually opportunities, moments where belief becomes real, where faith moves from theory into lived experience. But there's another side to this, a different side, because not everyone finds this idea comforting. Some find it hard. Some people hear God is testing you and feel burdened. If life is already painful, the idea that suffering is intentional can feel overwhelming, even cruel. And that leads to an important question, which leads to this: is everything a test? Most theologians would say, no. Not every hardship is a divine exam. The world is complex. There is human choice, natural consequences, randomness, and suffering that doesn't neatly fit into a test category. Even in the Bible, not every struggle is explained as a test from God. So perhaps the better question isn't, is this a test? But rather, the real question is, how do we respond to what we're facing, to the struggle? Let's be honest about the doubts here. Let's be very honest. If God is all-knowing, why test at all? If God is loving, why allow such difficult tests? And if faith can be tested, what happens when someone breaks under pressure? These are not small questions. One possible response to these hard questions is this: a test isn't about passing or failing in the way we usually think. It's not a divine scoreboard where God is waiting to disqualify people. Instead, it might be more like a refining process. In many traditions, faith is compared to gold being refined by fire. The fire doesn't destroy the gold, it purifies it. But that metaphor raises another tension. Fire still burns. Fire still burns, still it burns deeply. And for many people, life doesn't feel like refinement. It feels like survival. This is where the conversation becomes deeply personal, truly personal. Because for some, the idea of being tested strengthens their faith. For others, it becomes a stumbling block, and both responses are real. Even figures in the Bible questioned God in their suffering. They didn't always respond with calm faith. Sometimes they responded with confusion, frustration, even anger. And yet, those honest struggles were not rejected. They were accepted. They were included in the story. So what if God is testing us? Maybe the answer isn't as simple as yes or no. Maybe it's something deeper, something much deeper. Maybe life presents moments that function like tests, moments where our priorities, our beliefs, and our character are revealed. Moments where we have to decide, do we hold on to hope or let go? Do we choose trust or give in to despair? Do we act with love even when it's difficult? And here's something worth considering, something deeply true. If this is a test, it might not be about perfection. It might be about direction, a new direction. Not about never failing, never really failing, but about what we do after we fail. Do we grow? Do we reflect? Do we keep seeking the truth? Because if God is testing us, perhaps the goal isn't to catch us out. Perhaps the goal is to draw us deeper, deeper into the mystery, deeper into understanding the mystery, Deeper into faith, true faith, deeper into the kind of people we're becoming. But now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like you were being tested? Did it strengthen your faith or challenge it in the end? And do you believe God actually tests people? Or is there another way to understand life's struggles? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is a space for honest, respectful conversation. If you found this video thought-provoking, subscribe to Sacred Questions for more deep explorations like this. Because sometimes the most important questions don't have easy answers. And maybe that's the point, the whole point.